I'm still David Drummond, and we're in phase 3 of the presidential debates, where the candidates are challenging each other. Take it away, candidates.
Okay, well, you guys have said that you support assisted suicide in terminally ill patients. And me and my party believe that that should not be allowed, because
people killing themselves, and that's not a thing that you want to support, because it's secondhandedly assisted murder, which could be a crime.
And if someone is terminally ill, who says that they have the mental capacity? Because being a terminally ill patient in a hospital can be very overwhelming. Who says that they have the mental capacity to decide if they want to die or not?
Why not offer more help for the patient that would help them to get out of that state, rather than allowing them to kill themselves?
And allowing someone else to do that.
Okay. I'm going to answer those questions.
If you're in a lot of pain and you have a terminal illness like that, and you're in so much pain, your quality of life is down to 0. So you should have the right to kill yourself.
All right. Now what I'm going to say is that when we say assisted suicide, when you have a terminal illness, and they were asking why don't we offer more help for the patient? Well, the patient would have a terminal illness that cannot be helped, even with as much medication or anything that you could get. It's basically you're living off of life support. You're living on the electric lung or something like that. And even if you don't have the mental capacity, as some people would say, we would need to have the consent from the person, the consent from their parents or guardians, and it's just, who wouldn't want that? If you have an unbearable pain and you just cannot live anymore and it's just causing a burden on you, it's your Fourth Amendment right to be able to choose. So we think that that should be a good safety net for people like that.
Well, there are places that they send terminally ill patients like hospice care to improve their quality of living and take them to help them not be in pain while they're dying. And on the topic of consent forms, no parent is going to sign a form saying that their child can kill themselves with the help of another person.
Well, if their parent loves them that much to understand how much pain that they're in, and they know that it'd be better if they just stop living in so much pain that they just want to kill themselves every single day.
Isn't there always the capacity to improve your life? You'll never know if you end it right now. I mean, who knows, a couple months from the day that they would have killed themselves, they could have gotten much better and recovered from the illness. So are you saying
But they're fine.
Obviously, they're not going to kill themselves over a cold or if they.
Holy roast.
But it will take away their pain while they are dying.
It's not going to take away their pain. It's in terminal illness.
All right.
Well, that's all they have. That's all the time we have for this
We're going to
question.
switch to another question. Oh. I thought we were going to cut or something like that. Okay. For drugs, you say that for those in jail for drug use and selling, you plan to implement a stringent get out if you're clean policy. Even if you're clean, you could get out of jail and still distribute drugs. You don't necessarily have to be a drug user to go to jail for distributing drugs. So what do you mean by that?
Well, we have a policy. Our idea was that if someone is in jail because of drug use, and if they serve a certain amount of time and they test and they're clean, they've been sober or whatever for how many days or months or years, that we will let them out of jail, but with a strict supervision from probation officers and stuff like that, to make sure they don't start using or distributing drugs again.
So let's say like a person like El Chapo.
Well, obviously, we wouldn't let El Chapo out of jail.
What if he never, your program would let him out of jail if he was clean? Because what if he never used drugs, but he's like a mass distributor?
Well, we would
He
not
could still get out of jail.
our program does not let mass drug distributors or mass drug lords out of jail. It lets, it would,
You just said drug
Puts people with addictions out.
yes, it
El
would,
Chapo had an addiction.
Well, then we let him get clean and get out. And if he chooses to sell drugs when he's let out of
we
jail,
lock it back
then it's a
up.
whole problem.
So basically, you're just gonna keep it in a loop. You're just gonna put him in jail. You're gonna let him out if he's clean, and then you're just gonna arrest him again for distributing drugs. So
If you can even find him.
well, if he was put back in jail a second time, he would not be let out again, because this program would have strict rules to keep him in jail, to stop.
Can't get arrested.
All right, let's cut here.
Yeah,
but you can't be arrested twice.
Back America, I'm still David Drummond again. With me again in the final phase is the candidates where the audience can ask questions. So, yeah.
So you said that the Fourth Amendment supports assisted suicide, and I have the actual text of the Fourth Amendment here. It says it's the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. How on earth does that support assisted suicide?
Well, not only did that support it,
I'm not asking what else supports
the
it, I'm asking how does this
Amendment
specifically?
supports the right to choose.
I don't care about the ninth, I'm asking about the fourth. I'm asking you specifically about the text of the Fourth Amendment, since that was your proof. How does the Fourth Amendment support
Because
assisted
you have the
suicide?
right to privacy, and that's a private decision. So if you have a private decision, and you have the Ninth Amendment to choose, you add those two together, that's the right to choose and the right to privacy, right to a private decision.
Second.
What was my second question about it? It was a really good one.
All right,
I don't remember it.
that's fine. Go to Joel.
Let's go back, see if I remember.
So you have talked a lot about healthcare. What else do you talk about, or hope to do?
That's us?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. He said both.
Is that for us?
Both.
Vote.
Okay.
Alright, we'll let you listen.
okay, well, on the topic of healthcare, we believe that healthcare should be affordable for everyone because that is a basic right. And we all have the right to go to the doctors and get ourselves fixed when we are sick. And that shouldn't put people into thousands of dollars in debt because that is just unconstitutional. Thank you.
Alright, back to the Ninth Amendment, the right to choose. With Obamacare, it violates that amendment. You do not have the right to choose because they're forcing that on people. And for our health care, not only do we believe that it should be affordable, we believe that you should have the right to choose your own health care plan, and which means like going to your own doctor, working that out with your own like people. It's not something that's nationwide on your side.
It's a
That was
democracy.
a good answer.
Earlier, Christina, you said that the U.S. was considered a top terrorist nation by some. Who?
I actually saw an infographic where it took the countries of the world and it put the flag of the country that they feared the most. And while countries like the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom feared countries in the Middle East, the Middle Eastern countries, Asian countries, African countries, pretty much the rest of the world had the U.S. flag in their country. And that's a problem because we're one of the top superpowers. We shouldn't be scary. We should be promoting peace across the world and good relations to help us.
Where did you find that?
It would, I forget the source.
Okay.
It's not that.
We were just fighting the Middle East for attacking us.
Right quick, right here. I got a question for that too. You said that other countries thought of us as the top terrorist country in the world. How? How can you label America as a terrorist country? What acts of terror has our great country done to have done that?
She isn't referring to us as a terrorist country, but other countries fear us because of how powerful we are and how many troops are in their countries killing their people.
So
But
they
while
fear
they're-
us because we're a strong country, not because we are a terrorist country.
They fear us because we send troops to other countries.
Have you ever
and
taken
try
a U.S.
to
history
force
class?
peace
There's
in
plenty of
countries.
reasons to think
The
they're
reason why we're in their countries is because there was a problem with that country before that they caused.
All of the
on us.
countries? Every single one she listed?
Sorry,
She was kind of broad with it. She said Middle
She
East
didn't
and
list the
Asia, those are
countries.
hundreds
She
of
didn't list the
countries.
countries.
Ooh, that's something that America does.
What about Africa?
Theirs, so I would be scared of America as another country too.
USA.
Then go to another country.
Our own country, 'cause
Not in all cases.
most cases.
Invasion.
What are
But
the
we
reasons?
need to defend our country without,
Without
Without-
infringing on other countries.
I think we need to defend our country in any way that would help our people and our citizens the most.
At the expense of another country, though.
Another country that attacks us.
Another country full of terrorists.
We have done plenty of research.
All right, we need to go to the last couple of questions.
They attack us. Honor defending us.
Earlier in the interview, you talked about arresting someone twice, like for the same crime. So how can you do that because of double jeopardy?
well, okay. If someone in our program got out of jail because they were clean of drugs and they were on probation and they violated their probation by using or selling drugs, we have the right to put them back in jail. And that's not double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is when you go to court twice and are tried for the same crime.
For Quispe.